Former President Barack Obama taking aim at his successor earlier today in a speech to students at the University of Illinois. He's expected to hit the campaign trail next week, crisscrossing the country to stump for Democratic candidates ahead of the midterm elections. Adrian Elrod is the former Director of Strategic Communications for Hillary Clinton, and Colin Reed, Senior Vice President of Definers Public Affairs. Adrian, I'll let you go first. Is this move by President Obama something that you think will actually get Democrats out to vote, or do you worry a little bit that it will energize Republicans too?
No, I don't worry at all that it will energize Republicans. I'm more concerned about making sure that Democrats get out to vote. Dana, as you probably know, Democrats do lead on the generic ballot right now by 12 points, which means in just a generic race between a Democrat and a Republican, the Democrat would by default have a 12-point advantage. But it's important that Democrats turn out and vote. And it's also important to note, you know, we don't hear a lot from President Obama these days. He's trying to make sure that when he comes out and speaks, that he's making a big statement that it is well covered. He wants to make sure, of course, that he is allowing a new generation of elected officials and leaders to use their voice, but when he does speak, his words matter, and I think it's important. His message was very important today.
Colin, let me read this to you from the Washington Examiner. It was an op-ed that said, "One word from Obama inspires the nostalgia needed to help a California or a New York candidate clinch their race. One word from Obama could also sink an incumbent in a red state running for their lives away from Trump-loving electorates. Obama knows this, and that is undoubtedly why Obama didn't endorse any of the most vulnerable Senate candidates." We just got off the stage here was Cory Gardner, the Senatorial Committee chairman for the Republicans, and I can imagine that red state Democrats who are vulnerable would not want President Obama there.
Well, I think that's right, Dana. And as someone who worked on Republican campaigns in the two midterm elections when President Obama was president, I'm thrilled to see him out there because he oversaw catastrophic losses as president when he was president. And the coalition that showed up to vote for Barack Obama in 2008 and 2012 did not show up in 2010 or 2014. And it's one of the main reasons that the Democrats are in the hole they're in. And, you know, him being out there and dominating the national stage also starves much needed oxygen for the next generation of Democratic leaders who actually can run for president. Because Barack Obama, as talented a politician as he may be, he's a figure of the past at this point, not the future.
It was really interesting to watch that. Any moment now, we're going to hear from President Trump, and he's going to probably have a little bit of a response. Let me ask you one other topic. Nancy Pelosi saying today, "I do want to make sure they understand what he is doing to them," he being Trump. Did you ever know anybody who was dating a jerk? Could you tell her? No. You have to wait until she figures it out for herself, hopefully before it's too late, or you'll just drive her into his arms. Adrian, is that a metaphor that a lot of Democratic women are hoping they can understand?
I think it's actually the perfect metaphor, because what she's saying is voters are going to have to decide for themselves. They're going to have to realize themselves that President Trump is not enacting the campaign trail to improve their lives. So what she's simply saying here is she's drawing a metaphor, which I think many women out there who have been on the dating scene can certainly identify with, which is, you know what, sometimes you have to figure it out for yourself, that this person is not who you thought he was.
No, those of us who have ever tried to give relationship advice, certainly, you know, and I've been there. Colin, I also want to ask you this, because Nancy Pelosi in that same Time magazine article talked about being the focus of GOP attacks. And she said, "If I weren't effective, I wouldn't be a target." That's hard to argue with.
Well, the fact that she's still out there and making headlines is a good day for the Republican Party, because while the midterm map is tough in the House, when Nancy Pelosi's out there, it allows Republicans to frame the election as a choice between Nancy Pelosi and the Republican, and not just a referendum on President Trump. And when it's a choice with Nancy Pelosi and a Republican, Republicans have a punter's chance here of doing okay in the midterms.
Well, it's certainly heating up. A fun midterm election. Well, I guess it's fun for us to cover. Maybe not if you're on the ground as a candidate. Adrian Elrod and Colin Reed, thanks for being here.